Spoilers of the Damned. Spoilvengers assemble! I'm going to keep that in.
All right.
Okay, so welcome to Spoilers of the Damned podcast, episode number 2.
Oh, yeah.
I've had some good feedback about episodes 1 and episode 0, even though episode 0 technically doesn't exist. And at least 12 people have watched it on YouTube. So to those 12 people, thank you very much.
I salute you.
And well, we'll hopefully snowball from there. Maybe we'll make it to 13 this week.
I'm going to promote the shit out of it.
Well, let's start by just talking about stuff that we've been doing, because I mean it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since the last time we recorded.
It has been ages.
My fault. That's my fault.
Oh no, it's a mixture. I mean, I've been massively unwell and had a huge cold recently as well. So
nice.
I'm only just getting over that.
Yeah, mine's trying to come back.
It hasn't had enough.
And my cough's coming back again like the last couple of days. It's just resurfaced a little bit. It's quite annoying.
I am immune to all illness.
God damn it. My immune system is shit.
I don't know, seriously though, it's been strange. Like, this is March, and normally I have like a month-long period of just being down with the flu, or, I should have said being down with the sickness. Can we edit that? So I said being down with the sickness? No?
Yep, I'll even add a in there for you.
Sweet.
I saw them not last month, it's March already. I saw them in January, they were quite good.
Oh, shit.
Disturbed.
I don't ever go to concerts because it just feels like I have their CD or something, I'll just listen to it at home in the quiet, or relative quiet, with the music added in. Because, like, people... I went to a Muse concert.
You could just record people going, woo, and clapping and stuff, and just kind of play that in the background while you play the CD.
It's like I'm there.
Like, I went to a Muse concert, and I love Muse, or loved Muse. I don't really listen to them that often, and there's nothing wrong with them. I just stopped. But I really loved that concert. They're like a good light show, and like these pillars, and it's wonderful stuff. And I was like, wow, this is why people go to concerts, right? But I've gone to a Green Day concert, and it was like obviously not nearly the same production value. But that was just like, if I had just put the CD in and stayed home, I could have saved a couple $100. So
well, yeah, I mean, speaking as someone who extensively goes to quite a few gigs, probably more than my wife likes, to be honest, because I go with my friend Jay from university. So I've seen Green Day actually when I was 16.
Bloody hell.
I saw Green Day, and yeah, it was great. I mean, I think actually, Matt, the very first time I spoke to you because you were wearing a Green Day t-shirt.
Oh, was that the American Idiot one?
At university, yeah.
I think I've still got that somewhere. It's just covered in holes. Somewhere floating around.
But I saw them when I was doing my A-levels, and they played Milton Keynes, which Milton Keynes Bowl is this massive outside grass area, and it was 31 degrees that day, and I got completely sunburnt, and then I had an English A-level exam the next day.
So
and that was just the start. That got me hooked on gigs.
God, you're bright red. Are you nervous? Oh, I'm just in pain.
It's just great. You said 31 degrees, and for me, that would be like, that's chilly because of the weird Fahrenheit Celsius thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how high that is in Fahrenheit, but it's towards 100, I would imagine.
Well, 31 is something where it's like right around fall, winter weather during the day, perhaps. So you wouldn't have gotten sunburned in 31 degrees Fahrenheit at all. You would have been like, I'd have brought a jacket.
Hang on, for the purposes of being accurate, for the 3 people listening who will get annoyed and complain because we haven't clarified, 31 degrees Celsius is 87.8 Fahrenheit.
Mental note. Everyone write that down. Has everybody got that?
No.
Yeah, that will be in the test.
I will fail
will
the
be
test.
Tested. At the end, there will be an exam.
But I mean, this year especially, it's just in Britain, I don't know. It's always dark and dingy, but especially this year, it's just really got to me. I was reading the other day about sort of lots of doctors saying that vitamin D deficiency, which, you get your vitamin D from the sun, and that is like genuinely responsible for upsetting moods, even making you more susceptible to colds.
Mm-hmm.
And I could believe it.
Yeah.
I miss the sun.
And it's dark as shit outside at the moment as well.
Yeah, it was about 2:00. We were having lunch, and just literally this dark cloud just started rolling across the window, and the lights have to be switched on, and it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Oh.
So I wake up in the
No, I'll
morning.
be happy when this winter is over.
I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I'll open the windows, let some nice sunshine in, some natural light. Yeah, I might as well just close them and turn the lights on, I guess. But I've got the windows open, so I've got some fresh air.
Yeah. Same here. I kind of hope that doesn't bother the podcast at all. But, yeah, the window's open. It's just nice to have fresh air in the room. So good.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is pretty much the closest me and Matt are going to get to increasing our vitamin D. Is basically you hearing the sun in your room and us getting it through the microphone.
Oh my God, I'm still awake. What's going on?
Nice. That's nice.
But yeah, have you guys done anything horror-based recently? Played or watched or seen anything?
Actually, I was playing on the PS3 a little while ago, and I forgot that I had downloaded Siren Blood Curse a long time ago. And I just recently finished watching Super Great Friends LP on Siren for the PS2, and if anyone ever wants to watch an LP on that, that to me would be the premier one to watch. It covers everything, every nook and cranny, all the archive items, everything, so
nice.
you can see the whole game. It's really well done, and again, he has a really good reading voice. You know, he's not like PewDiePie or something like that. So he doesn't get scared. He enjoys the horror atmosphere. So he's like, it's like Vincent Price kind of thing, where he's just like there. He's part of it. It's there for him. He's there for it. That kind of thing. So I went ahead and turned on Siren Blood Curse, and it's basically the same game as the PS2 version, but completely reworked. New textures, new models, new characters, new story, same plot. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, and it's kind of good, except it's fucking dark. And I mean, like, you can't see anything. I mean, brightness all the way up, can't see a damn thing. It is dark.
That's one problem I had. Because it's good.
Yeah,
It's scary.
I've only played the PS2 originals, but that was my one memory, is just sort of being stuck in a dark corner, looking through the eyes of everybody, and just being really scared, and not wanting to move at all.
Yeah.
Just hiding where I am.
Well, my favourite moments to play, because I've only ever played Blood Curse, and Chris, you're right, yeah. I've heard the same thing about in terms of the plot, and from how I understand it is that there's less characters because they combined like a number of characters into like one or two different characters in Siren Blood Curse, so there's less, so they can focus more on them, and when one of them dies, it's more impactful, which makes sense.
That's a good idea.
There's quite a large body count, I think, in the very first one. But
there really
I think
is.
one of my favourite moments is when I can't remember if I was in a room or like in a hallway and it was empty. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sight Jack and have a look around, and I was looking through the eye of one of the Shibito. I was like, what are they moving towards us? That looks like, oh God, that's me. Oh Jesus Christ, that's me. Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
so much fun.
I didn't play very long. I got to the part where the cop shows up, and in Japanese he says, you know, shoot to kill 10-4, and he points a gun at you, and you're supposed to get away. And like I said, it's fucking dark, and I had to use the amplifier fucking, because it's really dark. And you have your flashlight, but your flashlight shows like a small circle of light, so you can't really see anything. You just see like there's a flashlight shooting into the darkness, so you can point it at the ground probably, but you have a guy with a gun trying to kill you behind you, and you have no idea where you're going. So it's like pow, pow. Then like one of the cool things is that the blood stain on your back after getting shot is just huge. Like I actually felt like a fear of blood in that game because of like how like wounded he seemed to be from that one gunshot, which would make sense. I mean, blood would be going everywhere. So I was like, oh God, he's dying. I got to get him at somewhere. And then, of course, he died because I had nowhere to go. It's dark.
It's good. Stick with it. It's I've played it through a couple of times. I really enjoyed it. I've played it. I played it before I went to university, and then I'm sure I played it through with one of my It's before I met you, Tom. I played it through with one of my dorm mates as well, and he thought it was really good. And it's one of the times I've just never gone back to. But I want to play the original ones. I've got, I think, I either bought the first or the second one at a retro game convention or market last year. So I actually need to sit down and finally play it. But there's just so much other shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So many games, so many good games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely on my list of things to cover on my YouTube channel eventually. I've got them somewhere, just in heaps and heaps of boxes of games outside in the shed, getting damaged, mint condition, failing.
No.
They will
Oh.
be played soon. Yeah, it's a series
But,
I want to play more of and see more of as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because it has kind of ever since... I remember, isn't Blood Curse kind of episodic? Like, they released it digitally
12 episodes.
first or something.
Yeah, they did. They actually did it quite well. Because I think I can't remember how I bought it. I don't know if I bought it like per episode back in the day, but I remember thinking they were like one of the first developers to get the episodic gameplay right, because too many say it's episodic. It doesn't really feel episodic at all. It just feels like you're buying small iterations of the same game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the same thing when I picked it up, although it was on sale. Actually, no, it wasn't on sale. I think it was PlayStation Plus free. So I was able to just download it. But downloading 12 episodes took a long time on a PS3.
And you have to do it all separately as well. You can't just do it in one bundle.
Yeah, it's just like one after another. And I was like, man, I'm never going to play this game. I just downloaded it for fun, really. I'm just testing my bandwidth. So, but that's, I think, the only horror thing I did in the last 2 or 3 days, or weeks, sorry. Yeah, I think that's it.
I mean, I was going to recommend a movie that I saw the other day. Have you guys ever heard of a film called Train to Busan?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
you have, yeah?
Isn't it a zombie movie, like, on a train?
Yeah, it's a Korean movie. It is zombie kind of based. It is about zombies, but the reason I recommend it to you guys is because it's really good example of a zombie movie. I mean, nowadays zombies are completely oversaturated, and I can understand people just switching off the second they hear the word zombie.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie kind of, even though, and this is going to sound weird because I'm recommending it, but this movie had an awful lot of those tropes that are very tired in zombie fiction, like, you know, the heroic sacrifice, the making a break for it, that kind of thing. But they play it really, really well. They, even though, because I mean, it's not dubbed in English, at least not the version I watched. So I mean, I was reading subtitles the whole time. But the actors were still amazing in terms of conveying emotion, and everything felt really genuine.
It's good.
And yeah, the fact that it's called Train to Busan because it's set on a train to Busan.
Oh wait, no, I have heard of that one. Yeah, that's just all come back to me now. Yes.
Oh right, okay. But I mean, even though they hop train halfway through the story and get on another train, it kind of has that feeling of. It's hard to explain, but that kind of tangible feeling of films from the 80s, you know, that are based around sort of one location, like say Die Hard or you know, that kind of thing, where the location is they don't flit around too much and it doesn't become too confusing. It's more kind of based around a very extreme situation in a very small space.
Yeah,
really,
like some of John Carpenter's best stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it's on Amazon. It's really easy to get hold of.
Really?
And yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for zombie stuff anyway, but I feel like this was a very good example of a zombie film.
Yeah, because I think the problem with zombie films is that, and just zombie games and any kind of like media for it, it's just like you said, so oversaturated, and it's just a lot of it feels so phoned in. Like here's the gore effect where he bites someone in the neck and blood goes over. Here's the person turning into zombies, and it's like they go through like a checklist of everything they have to do.
Yeah,
and they don't do anything interesting anymore in a lot of stuff. You know, which will lead me onto The Walking Dead, which I do kind of want to talk about in a minute. But I didn't mean to. Whew, that was. Whew. But yeah, I didn't.
No, that's okay. I mean, that's essentially it for Train to Busan. I recommend it if you like zombie films. If you don't like zombie films, but you like those kind of tense, small located atmospheric films from the 80s, sort of, you know, based around a crisis in one small space with a group, you know, a fairly small group of people. It's quite good for that as well. So yeah,
I'll have to give that a go. I'm trying to think like what I've done horror lately, because I've been so just crazy busy, and I've been ill and run down, and the past month's been a blur. I started Silent Hill 1 again, and then haven't played it for like a week because I started playing Neo, and then Horizon Zero Dawn's come out, so I'm going to try and juggle the two of those.
I hear very good things about Horizon Zero Dawn.
So have I, which is because I'm enjoying Neo, but because of the way it's more mission structured as opposed to how Dark Souls and Bloodborne were like one huge open world. Because I feel like I can just pick up and play it in like small increments. So I'm going to try and juggle between two because I really want to start Horizon because obviously it's just going to get pushed down and I'm not going to play it for ages. But so I played that for a bit and then I watched Return of the Living Dead again, which is one of my favourite zombie films because it's just having so much fun. Because it's completely ridiculous. Like, completely ridiculous. In fact, I think it's the first film that I ever saw as a kid that I remember that had running zombies.
Okay.
And in this one, one of the things that makes them so scary is that not only do they sprint, you can't kill them. So they try shooting one, like try like hit him, not shooting, but they try like hitting one in the head, and it doesn't work. They cut his head off, and he's still moving. They cut him into small bits, and the bits are still like moving around and flopping everywhere. And it's all set in like this. It's a cemetery right by this this warehouse which stores like dead bodies and lots of like chemical stuff. Because I don't want to give too much away because I think the two of you will really enjoy it because it's a lot of fun. And it's because it's really funny in all the right places and it's kind of scary in all the right places as well. And then obviously it's by a cemetery and lots of shit happens and then you've got an entire cemetery's worth of running unkillable zombies and it's quite frightening. And it has a really good 80s punk soundtrack. So there's that as well. So I watched that and had a lot of fun, but the person I was with, she didn't like it very much, so... Well, none was perfect.
No one's perfect.
And then I watched The Walking Dead and started to question why I'm still watching the show.
Fall asleep? Yeah.
It's so crap at the moment.
I'm the biggest advocate of The Walking Dead. I buy everything. I eat everything up that they put out, and even I am starting to lose the will to live watching The Walking Dead.
I'm sat there like, gee, let's give an entire episode to Eugene.
Yeah, we'll see. We've had 3 episodes so far since we came back.
Nothing's happened. Nothing's really happened.
The first one was fairly okay.
Yeah, because they were going around
remember.
everywhere they were sowing the seeds to
exactly
raise an army to fight Negan.
And then the following week, I mean, it's not entirely its fault because sort of I wasn't feeling too well that week, so I was quite sleepy. But I fell asleep
that one was bad.
for the first time ever in a Walking Dead episode.
You mean the Mad Max rejects? We now have our own spoken language. We're going to talk to you about the before time and the long, long ago. I kept expecting to say that. Like, it's been in the show. I know the show's been running for 7 years, but I'm pretty sure in the canon in the show is that it's been 2 years since the outbreak.
Well, an undisclosed period of time between 2 and 3 years, essentially. Yeah.
But that is not long enough for an entire group of people to start talking like they're in a post-apocalyptic, like Mad Max movie.
Oh, my only theory is that they've been drinking water out of like the cars that are rusted dead, and they've just gone completely fucking mental.
The other theory is someone said, "What if they're just like not convicts, but they're just mental patients?"
That's really bad, considering her haircut as well.
Oh god, she's a terrible actress. when just at the end, Rick's like, "We did it, Michonne." Like, you did, dick. You've now got to go and get more shit for these people, and you've got a week to get more shit for Negan, who's not very happy with you at the moment.
As well.
Yeah, he's not very happy with you at the moment, Rick, because someone tried to murder him, and the person that tried to murder him is still acting like a bitch and completely unlikable.
Yeah.
And again, the only character I really like at the moment is Negan. They're all so stupid.
I mean, yeah, let me just explain for Chris, right? Because Chris, you know Negan from the comics.
Yeah, I'm aware of the Negan and the arc and what happens in the comics, but I don't really know what's happening in the TV show.
Well, in the show, in my opinion, he's very well cast in the show. He's played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and he's very charismatic. And but the problem is he's got this kind of thing he's worked into the Negan character, which is kind of like this lean where he leans backwards.
Yeah.
And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And like literally, I've seen memes where people have photoshopped stills of the show to just inch him 45 degrees further backwards. So it's like literally he's like leaning halfway into, funnily enough, a Limbo. But we'll get to that.
He said the name.
He said the name of the thing we like.
Yeah.
But it's just at the moment, I mean, and especially as Matt was saying, this week's episode just gone. I mean, some important character building. It was nice to see sort of Eugene at the sanctuary, but it was it just went on and fucking on.
Yeah.
And the people in it don't. I mean, no one speaks normally anymore. I mean, not just aside from those freaks at the dump. I mean, like normal people don't speak properly anymore. They kind of like. Go on these weird soliloquies and speak in philosophic terms.
Like the Doctor. It's like, where does that come from?
I know. It's just you just want someone to actually speak normally. It's so weird. And I mean, I've seen arguments for it. People saying, because there are so many characters and so many locations, when you're seeing people interact, it's important interactions. So they kind of cut the chaff off so that you've just got the bare essentials and the importance. But I think even then, they kind of like, they're so in love with the way they try to write this kind of prose that it ruins it for me. It's just not believable.
I'd say...
sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like I think Matt said earlier, like that there's not enough time for them to do that. Like break down their language into such a sing-songy whatever's going on there.
Yeah.
And it's not in the comics at all. That's the other thing, It's like it's not. Everyone's still like everyone who's alive remembers what it was like before the zombies. Everyone had a job. Like there's a point where there's like a suburban area in the comics that they get to, and the person there would assign them positions based on what they did before the outbreak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's just no reason for that to even happen. That would annoy the crap out of me, because it would sound like they're just trying to like pick up like a demographic of people who like Mad Max or post-apocalyptic stuff, and they think that just sounds cool without thinking too much about it.
I've seen memes and supercuts of basically people just going like, you can't go back, and then it cuts to another person going, it's not like it was before, and then it cuts to another person's like, you can't go back now, and it's like literally there's like 7 or 8 phrases everyone keeps spouting every so often, and it's just different variations on that.
Or Rick leaning, doing that strange crouch thing and squinting when he's trying to like admonish someone, or he's talking down to him, you kill them, Carol. And he does that thing that he crouches and he like leans to the right, and it's like, are you okay? You having a stroke?
I know what you mean, and again, that's another fucking thing that I didn't really notice until you've put it into words. Like with the Negan lean.
The other thing he does is whenever an important character comes up, like when they meet Morgan again, he always, and I don't know if it's Andrew Lincoln or it's just he thinks this is good for the character, he does this thing like someone go, oh my god, it's Jesus has come back, and he glances to the side and he does something like squints, and he's like, oh my god, Jesus, oh my god. And he does that, he looks to the side and he's like, back's all straight, like, no one does that.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Negan, because Negan's just having fun. Like
and Negan just walks in and goes, and does his lean. And he's like, Daryl.
Oh, give myself a drink. I'm like, he's entertaining. He's fun.
Yeah, he is fun.
And that's
but
he's intimidating at the right moments as well.
Yeah. And I mean,
which is good.
My wife can't separate what he did from when season 7 started. What he did to which characters.
Yeah.
She can't separate that from the character, but I easily can. I'm it's the Negan show now.
But also, like, when you think about his reasons for doing it, he kind of had a point. It's like, you killed 30 people, 30 of my men, and I killed one, and then the only reason I killed the other one is because I told you not to do anything, and someone stood up and punched me in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I can't argue.
Sure, that's pretty lenient.
Sure, you threw a doctor into a furnace.
Yeah, but I will persevere with it, just because I'm in this boat now until it dies or explodes.
That's what happens. I mean, they need to get on with it, because it's just come back, and there's still it feels like they haven't done anything. There's maybes. We might get the kingdom to help us. We might get the garbage people to help us. We might have
garbage people,
Hilltop to help us. There's lots of maybes, and there's not enough happening. There's only like 5 or 6 episodes left,
which I don't understand, because I mean the comic books are so, of what I've read of them, are so succinct, and there's not much filler at all. Yeah. It's really kind of a constant thrill ride, and they put. I feel like the show puts in too much in places where it doesn't need to put in stuff, and places where it could put in stuff, that's the stuff it glosses over and hurries really fast for some reason. The pacing is just completely weird.
Well, it was like that episode that Tara episode at the start of the season where she was with the that community just of women. Like, that did not need to be an entire episode. You did not need an hour to say.
And I mean, that is
group.
there just to introduce the group for further on, isn't it?
Yeah,
so.
And it's like, gee, I wonder where they're going to get their guns from.
Maybe it's the group with all the guns.
Yeah, and Tara's like, no, I can't tell them because I've got a friendship bracelet.
What kind of
I'm pretty sure if you stroll up to them and go, hey guys, so you hate the Saviours, right? Yeah, they killed all the men. So do you want to help us kill them all? No, sorry, fam, can't do.
Sorry, fam.
We got an island to maintain, and we can't. I'm sorry. Of course they're gonna say yes.
Yeah.
So stupid.
I just wanted to bring up a couple points that I was thinking about, like the thing with Negan and Rick being like Negan more fun to watch and Rick being predictable. Rick's been doing Walking Dead for how long now? As an actor, whatever his actor's name is.
Andrew Lincoln.
Is that Andrew Lincoln? Okay,
so
yeah.
2010.
Yeah, 2010. That's in 7 years. Like, when you work at a place for 7 years, you start getting these habits, and you start refining to the point where you don't have any like natural movements anymore. Everything is just like the same stimuli, the same reaction. So with Negan, he's brand new. He's having fun. That's why he looks like he's having fun. I'm sure he's actually being. Yeah, I'm Negan. This is pretty awesome. I like this book.
I get to kill people.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to bring up about Walking Dead was that. When I started reading the comics, I think in the foreword by the author, whatever his name is, I can't remember anymore. He said that he enjoyed Night of the Living Dead, zombie movies, that kind of thing, and he always wanted to know what happened afterwards. Like, he didn't like them ending, and that to me insinuated that he never intends to end the story unless, of course, he passes away. So
sorry, just to butt in, but for the purposes of that one person who'll complain, the guy's Robert Kirkman.
Robert Kirkman, thank you. Yeah, I was kind of expecting someone to butt in, and it didn't happen immediately, so I just kept on going.
You were making this really good point, so I thought I'd wait till the end.
Thank you.
Robert Kirkman, God, you guys are so stupid.
Yeah, why can't you remember that name? It's like 3 words. Anyway.
You should know everything.
Do your research. It's a podcast. Calm down. But
I was just going to say that. Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Chris. But then I've got a point to finish on The Walking Dead, I think.
Sure. Basically, Robert Kirkman, I don't think he intends on ending the story at all. So with that in mind, I had to quit. I'm not sure I would have ridden that boat to the end, because it would just become a tired circle of suffering over and over and over again. Everyone's just being sad all the time, attacking each other for no reason, and zombies and stuff. That's all I was going to say.
That's a good point, though, because that's the thing. Like, with the zombie apocalypse, like there's only so far you can really do it. That's why, Land of the Dead, George Romero's Land of the Dead isn't very good. It's got some good ideas, but it's not very good. The original trilogy is such a really well told and simple progression, where it's just starting in Night of the Living Dead, and it shows how humans just in extreme circumstances still can't work out their own little petty differences. Dawn of the Dead is during it's already happened, and it's during the breakdown of society, which is really interesting to see from this small group of characters that are just holed up in a mall, and it shows that there's some slight hope at the end. Like, that there are some people still alive, because there's the biker gang, and you think there must be other people out there as well, and there's it's like a bittersweet ending where they do get away to an uncertain future, but they get away. And then Day of the Dead is one of the most depressing zombie films ever made, where the people in that bunker are probably the last humans alive. You get the idea they're probably the last people alive, and it ends knowing that. But the characters that make it out are gonna live the rest of their lives away from it all. There's only so much you can do with it because I don't know what they can. I know some of what happens in the comics, and then there's another villainous group, but that's the problem. The Saviours are so huge. Like, the first time you see them, like in the show, they're so intimidating because you've not seen anything like it. When they're they just block all the roads between the RV, and it's really intimidating because you realise there's a lot of them. I don't know what you can do after that, instead of just going, here's an even greater group with more guns. 2 villains.
2
And then
villains.
there's a
Yeah.
super
And 3
zombie.
people die this time. And yeah,
And we
I know
won't
what
kill
you
off
mean.
Rick.
it becomes a game of escalation then, just
Yeah.
until it peters out.
Yeah, I think the show will eventually, if they don't give it an actual ending, I think it will be one of those shows that just ends because no one's watching it.
Yeah.
Because it will. I mean, I do enjoy it, but I do think it'll get to that point where it's like, what else are we gonna do? We've had like the Governor was great, and then there was that season where they didn't have a villain. It was kind of shit. And then Negan's back, and it's I've got a villain, but they're huge. And then what happens when they're gone? Should we actually start having stuff with zombies again? Because there's been barely any zombies in the past 3 episodes.
Well, the zombies aren't really a threat anymore.
No.
Like, they all know how to deal with a zombie. There's no, like, oh, God, zombies are knocking on the door. They're just like, all right, we'll just fight them off.
Yeah, there's this one shot. So you just reminded me of something. The mid-season premiere, there was one scene that pissed me off to no end. Is when they go to a motorway. I don't know if this is in the comics. They go to a motorway.
I don't think it is.
No.
And they're like,
Off the top of my head.
oh no, we got Saviour Radio, and they're going to be coming to the kingdom, so we got to get out so they don't see us, because they'll kill us all. Oh no, there's a roadblock. Hey, there's dynamite there. This must be for the walkers, which makes no sense, because that would make more problems anyway, because you need to have, bits of zombies biting your ankles off, which is going to happen anyway. So then they have this whole moment that, oh, we have to get all the explosives, because then we'll be able to use them. I'm pretty sure the Saviours have realised they're gone. And then there's a massive horde they can see in the distance, which catches up to them unbelievably fast. And in one of the goofiest, schlockiest moments in a show that takes itself incredibly seriously.
It was goofy, but I did, I'd rather have 7 or 8 episodes of that than the last 2 we had.
But the problem I had was, so they get in 2 cars that have got a wire attached to either of them, and they're driving simultaneously at the same time, Michonne and Rick, and they're driving towards the zombies, and the wire is basically just above the ground when they get in, because it's like attached to the bumper. Suddenly, as they're driving along, it's cutting zombies perfectly in half, or cutting their heads off, which makes no sense.
No.
And then you have the problem of zombies crawling around, biting your ankles. And then it does something that just continues to piss me off of the show, is the main character plot armor, where Rick gets out of the car. He is completely surrounded. He has no weapons on him. He's holding a stick of dynamite close, and then he's just lightly shoving them away. Like, no, get off. No.
No, now's not the time. No, go away.
No.
The whole thing I could think when I was watching that scene was just multi-kill.
This isn't Dead Rising where you just like shrug them off. He was just like lightly pushing them out. You're a nuisance. You're just a nuisance now. You're just a nuisance, which is what the zombies are now. They're just a nuisance. And you're right, they're not the threat anymore at all.
Yeah.
No, they should be.
Like, from what I recall, I might be wrong on this because I didn't actually read past the Negan plot arc. I just got to the resolution for the happy ending, because that's the only happy ending that I think I saw in the entire comic book. So I was like, this is a good stopping point. I think after that, it cuts to 2 years in the future, which, I mean, maybe the story's supposed to lead to a spot where the zombies aren't really a threat anymore, and the actual point is people dealing with each other and maybe building a civilization again. And that if that's the story he wants to write, hell, that's the story he wants to write. But because like after 2 years of all of the dead bodies shuffling around, not shoveling, they're not laborers, shuffling around or lurking around and rotting, there's not going to be much left of them after 2 years. They'll be jelly. Their teeth won't even do anything anymore. It wouldn't be a threat if you did see a horde of zombies, because it'd all be on their bellies. It's like,
So that would be interesting if they did that in the show as well, because obviously, the actor that plays Carl he's a lot older than he was when the show started, and considering it's supposed to be 2 years or 3 years in the show, so maybe it'd be a good idea if they actually did that, and it'd be interesting actually to see that.
It would be, but having said that, I think, even though it breaks my heart because there's material after that I've read about that I would really love to see the characters, or rather the actors, portray. I feel like for the series, realistically, that's probably the end goal, is to stop there before that time skip and end there somehow, because otherwise you're looking at trying to push for like 20 seasons of this show, and as a fan, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Didn't the producers say that they reckon they've got enough material for like to go up to like season 12 or something?
Maybe, but even then, I think
That's pushing it.
what would annoy me about that is that if they are thinking of trying to go past that natural kind of like split point in the comic, why the fuck are you wasting time now?
Yeah, just
with
get it
this
over.
bullshit. Yeah, why speed it up? Speed it up.
Yeah, I don't care about Eugene playing Atari and eating pickles.
Well, yeah, well, it's kind of nifty and everything, but it seems like half the things they write now are just designed to be memes. Which, yeah, I mean, gets old quickly. I mean, Eugene's funny. Eugene's quirky. He did some fucking science tricks, and
I hate him.
he plays Atari.
I hate
That
him
could be 10 minutes of a 40-minute show.
Yeah, why did we already knew he was really smart. We did not need to have that entire, like, it felt like 10 minutes of him showing Negan's wives that he could do stuff. Like, I know he can do stuff. Don't waste my time.
Yeah, it's just...
I will say one thing. In that episode, the stuff I really enjoyed was with Dwight. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, he's not a morally good character at all, but no one really is anymore. But it showed a side to him that the reason he's doing everything, all the underhanded shit he's doing, is just to protect his wife.
Yeah.
Like, everything. And I thought that showed that he's not evil, and he's doing horrible things, but he's doing it for a reason that he deems worthy. And it's like, I like that. That's good to see that, giving like your villains depth. Or you could just be mental like the governor.
Yeah, I mean, we need to close this conversation out.
Yes,
but
because
basically,
I'm waffling.
the sense. Well, no, it's just that we're like 40 minutes in. So, but,
Limbo.
I think what I read somewhere was that the point of the last episode was that it kind of showed Eugene and Dwight both realizing or seeing that each other only sort of like says they're Negan because of they have to kind of survive, and that they're just working towards being able to get out of that system. But while they're inside it, they realize they need to embrace it, or something like that. But again, that could have been one paragraph of a 4-paragraph summary of a whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I hope it gets better.
Yeah, wait till next week where we rag on the next 2 episodes, and suddenly we'll be going like, where the fuck is the Eugene-centric episodes? Bring them back.
Bring back Eugene. With his pickle jar. There's my pickles.
You got lobster?
Got lobster.
I want lobster.
Can we talk about like one more thing? Like the character's clearly autistic.
Yeah, he's meant to be like that, isn't he?
It's kind of like no one's like everyone seems to just not acknowledge it. Like even the character's just like, he's just a bit weird. Like I'm pretty sure like there's a reason for the way he acts. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
Although,
I mean, what really annoys me about this last episode is that it seems to have destroyed any kind of character development he's recently had.
Yeah, because
in moving away from being insular.
Right. Although I suppose they can't say that he is like mentally retarded or he does have autism or he has something else, because then there's that whole episode of where Abraham punches him like 3 times in the face.
Oh my god!
Which was one of the funniest moments in the show because he just. So I don't know how it happens in the comics, Chris, but there's when they realise that Eugene's been lying to them, Abraham kind of loses his shit a bit, punches him about 2 or 3 times, knocking him unconscious, and he proceeds to just face plant on the concrete, and he makes this glorious, almighty crunching sound. It was great. I loved it.
Well, I can't say that when I read that in the comics that it made any sounds.
Because
it's a book.
Crunch.
Yeah, actually, I don't remember Abraham's reaction to that anymore. It's been a long time. So
yeah, it probably has been actually. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna stop waffling.
Waffling of the dead.
That's better than what they're doing.
Yeah.
Zing.
So
okay, so yeah, well, I mean, what we've kind of decided is that this week is our Walking Dead / Limbo episode.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to go into details, but this week I played Inside. I couldn't wait for you guys anymore. I jumped in because, well, no, it was just the point that I've been sick and fucking tired of playing Resident Evil 7 now. That game we talked about last week and called like progressive and brilliant, and yeah, I'm fucking shit tired of that game now.
yeah.
Fuck it.
I've had my fun with it. I got pretty much all of the achievements apart from some of the fucking nuts stuff that there's no way I'm going to be able to do, so I'm not going to bother. But I played Inside as kind of like a palate cleanser, and just because I knew that it was going to be an experience, much like I feel Limbo is an experience, and perhaps the first time is the best time in regards to that experience. But I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And without spoiling Inside, it made me so angry because it is just as open-ended, just as kind of like ideas, themes, theories. That you kind of sat there going, what does it mean?
Yeah, you've just made the same game again.
Well, yeah, ostensibly they have. It is very, very much a spiritual successor, and it pretty much is just with more bells and whistles. Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful game. I enjoyed it. It aggravated me because I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I've since gone online to find other weirdos who thought it meant what I thought it meant. But then there are other people who've come away with completely different things as well. So, but I mean that's the same with Limbo, and so I will recommend Inside, especially if you did like Limbo, and especially if it's cheap. It's good for one go through definitely. But as with Limbo, probably doesn't stand up to a lot of replays. Because I gather from you guys that you were actually kind of getting a bit frustrated running through it again this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I beat the game before, and I liked it then because all of the deaths were quirky and fun. Like, oh, I should have seen that coming, or oh, they got me this time. But the second time around, with I think 6-7 years in different in distance. I don't know how long it was since I last played the game, but it was new when I played it.
Oh yeah, well it's been out 7 years.
7 years. Right. Okay, yeah. It's about because when it was introduced to me. My cousin said, "Here, play this game, real quick." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And I picked it up and was like, "What is this?" He's like, "Just play it." I'm like, "All right." And I started walking forward, and then I fall into a hole and die. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, should jump." Walk forward, jump past the hole, and then you get to the spider, and the spider stabs you in the head. I'm like, "Oh, I should have not approached the spider." I mean, obviously not, but there was no immediate other path to take within my visual range. I couldn't see anything else I could do. So, I mean. The game seems to me, I'm cutting ahead, but I die a lot, and every trap kills me. And it's the way it works is that it teaches you how you're going to die, and then it teaches you how, through that death, how to get past the puzzle. But I hate that now. I hate it.
It's kind of trial and error, isn't it? Basically,
but it just makes me feel dumb. I played some Legend of Zelda afterwards, some Twilight Princess, and there's puzzles in there. But when you don't solve the puzzle immediately, you just start over and try it again. You don't die, or you just lose a little health, or something like that. It doesn't say game over, or it doesn't fade to black, or make you feel stupid by watching this long ass death cutscene of you just being flung around ragdoll style on a spider leg or something. You stupid, you should never approach this giant menacing spider.
Well, I don't know how many giant menacing spiders you've approached, Chris, but
you should see my ex-wife. No,
it can be dangerous to approach giant spiders. That's all I'm saying. I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying.
It is, but in a lot of games, they show you the thing, and if it's the only thing you can do, when you approach the thing, something happens. Doesn't always mean your death. Usually it's a cutscene happens, or something saves you, or something, falls, out of the sky, or take this, or something happens, and in Limbo, nothing ever happens. It's just, you should have figured it out before you died. Duh.
Yeah,
you stupid.
It does feel very... It feels very mean-spirited in the way it kills you as well. It's you should have figured it out, shithead.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like going... you were saying that in Zelda, when you fell and it's you didn't get it right, but have another go, better luck next time. This feels really, really mean-spirited about it.
Yeah.
It's haha, you missed that. But you didn't miss that, did you? Because you didn't know that was there. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, you didn't see that bear trap in the tree. It just fell on your head, you stupid. Why don't you look up sometimes? The bear traps.
Call yourself a gamer.
Yeah, the bear traps.
I'm gonna do the really annoying thing in a minute where I kind of buzz in with plot reasons as for why this is happening. But I mean that doesn't.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's removed from actual just enjoyment and playing the game.
Yeah.
So.
But the bear traps look like blades of grass. You learn to differentiate the bear trap from the blade of grass after you die to one. There's two pressure plates in an area where like these heavy iron things fall on your head if you step on the square. But if you don't step on the square on the second one, then you'll still die because it's like the area around the square was the pressure plate that time. So you end up dying twice.
Yes,
And
that's exactly what I was going to bring up.
And that's when I quit because it was like, okay, I obviously couldn't get through. I mean, the pressure plate was the thing. You know, you're supposed to jump on that, and the thing doesn't work. And then you go to the next one, jump on the pressure plate, smash. And it's like, oh, son of a bitch. And I know once you get past that part, you get chased by guys with blow darts, and then you run around, and now you know how to use the traps to kill them with the traps. So it's like, oh, that's what the game was trying to teach me. It's like, but you could have made both traps the same trap. They could have done that, and then I would have like still had the same experience, and I wouldn't have had to die twice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was. That moment is exactly what I was going to bring up in terms of the frustration. Where, you said it better than I could, but I'm so glad you said that. I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Yeah,
that really pissed me off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that's fair enough, but what I will ask then is, seeing as this is both of yours second or third or whatever playthrough, it's not your first time. Would you say that the first time, the sort of wondering what the game was about and the plot and stuff was driving you through that, or was it just more fun the first time round?
I just wanted to get to the end the first time. Really, like, you just start, you don't have any context. You don't have any, like, prologue. You just see, like, I think your sister or something, and then you fall, and then you're in limbo, and then you just move forward. And the reason I kept going forward was because at the time, the atmosphere was pretty good. Like, I still had, like, a sense of wonder going through the game. And every time I encountered a new puzzle, it was some new thing. Like, okay, why are these guys with blow darts shooting at me? I had this giant spider. And ripping the leg off that giant spider was, like, one of the best, like, video game moments of that year. It was like, yes, spider, I'll take this. This is mine. I'll put it in my own head if I want to.
and then it's like, ha ha ha, now roll into the spikes, bitch.
Yeah, slowly push it to the spikes.
That is one of the cruelest moments.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
But and as you advance through the game, after the spider phase, after like the tribal phase, after the brainworm phase, and then into the industrial phase, it just sort of became like I'm only continuing this because I've invested time into it. And then when you get to the end, it was like, oh, that was it. That's what my first playthrough experience was like.
Yeah, because I think that's because I played it a lot this morning, and I remember when I played it all way back when the first time I did, and when you get to the industrial section, and that's when I started to kind of get a bit tired of it, and I lose a lot of interest when it gets there because it's just the rest of the game, like it's there's no colour, but when you're in the forest and just the tribal section just before you get to the industrial area, it's really really pretty to look at, just like the different shading, the use of lighting, it's all really nice to look at. And then you get to the industrial section and it's just all black with some lighting, and then visually it's just not very.
Yeah, it's very drab.
Yeah, it's just like it feels like you ran out. It felt like they ran out of steam. Which like we'll just have like they just put like fucking cogs and shit there. Yeah, that'll do. That'll be fine. And then you see your sister. Oh, thanks for playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know some of the context, and I know like a lot of the stuff behind it, but the problem is like because it's so trial and error, and because of that, like playing it through again isn't as fun either. It's just not, because I think just because of the way the game's structured, and because it's so bare bones in terms of story as well.
I would argue if it's been long enough that it's kind of it can be fresh again, but it's it's tricky, as you say, because you go through it this first time with this sense of kind of wonder and questioning as to what it means. Like I said with Inside, I was just screaming the whole time going, what the fuck does this mean? Tell me what this means. And in playing Inside, I can see that they definitely probably listened to what people said about Limbo and improved some of the puzzles. They're a bit more varied when it comes to Inside. But it is also a case that Inside is very much like Limbo in that you've kind of got to die to see what you should have done and then work it out that way. And I totally concede that that becomes frustrating, especially when it's or the charm or the wonder has kind of gone because you've seen ostensibly what is the game is. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think another reason why the industrial section is just a lot more is less fun and more dull than the earlier sections is because despite everything being so ridiculously large and impossibly big in the industrial area, despite that it feels more video gamey, far more traditionally video gamey that area than the early parts of the game, which are more dreamlike and strange and surreal.
That's a really good point.
I think that's why those areas that beginning is just like so much more interesting because
that's
weird creatures and
that's where you get into the switches and the gravity and the buzzsaws, right?
And that
so
feels
it's much more gamey.
Yeah, it's less interesting. That's another reason I think it's just a bit more less interesting. It's visually,
that is a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. I think that's one of the reasons why I would approach the crazy spider because, like, I'm expecting the game to sort of like show me something, not my death, but something. Do you guys hear my dogs barking right now?
Yeah, that's cute.
Just a little bit, it's fine.
Yeah, I think she's done. I thought she was done.
Oh no, she's not.
I'm not done.
I hear you up there.
Okay, I'm done.
Anyway, we'll just ignore that. So like the dreamlike, surreal experience of the beginning of Limbo sort of like felt like when you're in a nightmare or even a dream in real life, things just sort of happen around you. You don't feel like you'll die. But in Limbo, like you do that all the time.
Yeah, and despite everything being connected, it also feels really disconnected as well.
Yeah.
Like, why would there be a tribal village, or would it be like a village right next to a spider's lair? Why would this be right here? And it all just feels so strange, but you just accept it, like in a dream where you just accept it.
This is probably where I should start bringing my Tom's marvelous case of theories.
Yeah, make us like this game.
Musings. Well, see, because and I mean, I read a really good interview. If anyone's interested, if you go to Gama Sutra and look for an interview with the directors of Playdead. And it was back in 2010 when the game launched, and there was sort of a big buzz around the game. I remember I only played the game because I'd heard, such amazing things about it. I'd never really played an indie game. If I had maybe I'd played Super Meat Boy by then, but indie games were up and coming, and I'd never really played one before, and I definitely never really played one with a message. I know that nowadays, half a dozen indie games come out a week that have some kind of message. Oh, it's about cancer. Oh, it's about, that kind of thing. But Limbo to me was definitely the first example of that, so I think that probably helped it a lot in my esteem of it.
Yeah,
and but anyway, this interview is quite good. It does fill in a couple of blanks because I mean, they admit themselves that the game is deliberately designed to be as ambiguous as possible, and apparently the guy who the creative director. He was reading things online and he saw someone who was what he describes as painfully close to getting exactly what the game is about. And he said he kind of regrets the amount of clues that he did put in because someone had, almost got to it. But considering the amount of clues there are, the rest of us are probably sitting here thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Because, there are a few elements in here. And I have a few theories. But, I mean, first off, I was probably going to ask you guys for your takes on what exactly happened in Limbo before we go into the myriad different variations of what people think might have happened.
I'll just go ahead and answer real quick. I have a very short answer. Like, it's called Limbo, right? And when I beat the game...
Excellent.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
When I beat the...
Sorry. Oh, no, there's more.
I was like, well, yeah, I know. I said it's called Limbo. What are you doing? But now I can understand.
Except the name.
When I beat the game and it basically starts over again, I was like, oh, I get it. And then I stopped playing. Now I'm done. That was it. That was everything. That was all of the plot.
Like, oh, that's what it is. Oh.
So to elaborate a little bit on that, then basically what you're saying is you think the boy is trapped in some kind of limbo and that's going to repeat forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless there's some difference after beating the game a second or third time. I did notice there was like these little light bubbles that you can find, and I found 2 of them. But then the rest of the game, like, it didn't seem like there was any other place to go to explore to find other light bubbles. So I don't know what that's even about, and I don't really care. But I'm sure you have the answer, so I am a little curious.
Well, when it comes to those glowing orbs, there isn't an awful lot about them actually. They don't, as far as I'm aware, they don't have any kind of effect over the ending of the game, or they don't change anything. I will say inside there are hidden things, and they do change it. That's the only way to get to an alternate ending. But in Limbo, there isn't, as far as I'm aware.
I'm glad I didn't look that hard then.
I think they're just more kind of gamey rewards for trying to go a different way than the way they're kind of ushering you. So
I see.
That's true, because the very first ones, if you go left when you wake up and it's the achievement is the title, which is called "That's the Wrong Way" or "Wrong Way."
Yeah.
I think that's just literally it. Then it's just like achievement points.
Yeah,
because that's all they are.
There's one up in the trees after that, like shortly after that, and I found that one. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna keep an eye out for these things along the way, and then I didn't find anything for the next like hour of the game. I was like, all right, well, I don't care anymore then.
I strongly, I mean, I may have found a couple on my first time through or my second time through, but I'm ultimately, to get them all, I think you really need some help unless you're incredible, because they are very well hidden. Some of them you have to deliberately kind of go all the way through a puzzle just to go all the way back through it backwards to get to a different place or something. So some of them are quite unintuitive.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
But Matt, what was your take on the sort of the events of the game?
Well, once I finished it and thought about it just the same as Chris, but playing it through again like this morning, I was thinking also that it's because you're playing as a child, and it's almost how it's like the type of nightmare you would have as a young child, where you're in this strange environment that you have no memory of. Everything's like really, really large, like everything's quite big.
Yeah, amplified.
Yeah, and it's
like
almost
it's amplified fear.
Yeah, it's amplified, and it's like you're lost and you're alone in this big scary world, and you don't, with no one around you for support. Your family aren't there, your parents, and I thought, oh mate, it's more nightmarish than than I remembered what the title of the game is. I was like, oh yeah, I think it's probably it's just about that simple, I think. So yeah, I wish it was something more like that, but I think the title kind of just says it all. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Or maybe it's not. Ooh.
Are you ready to get
It's
motherfucking truth bombed? Yeah?
Do it.
Okie dokie. Right, well, basically, the greatest thing about Limbo is that all of this is completely useless and pointless, and no one will ever get a real answer because there is no quote-unquote real answer. So, with that in mind, let's waste everyone's time by going through these theories.
Okay. Bring it on!
Do it.
The most prevalent theory that I could see in researching for this is the treehouse theory. Now, if you remember in the game, somewhere in the middle and then again at the end, you catch up with this girl who, yeah, you're right, Chris, it is the boy's sister. That's been confirmed. One of the few things that has been confirmed. And you'll notice that there is actually a kind of like a ladder above where they are, and there's a kind of a tree to the side.
Yeah.
Now, the treehouse theory sort of supposes that these children, the brother and the sister, were in the treehouse playing when disaster and tragedy struck, and they fell from the house because it collapsed, and they both died. Now, there is supporting theory for supporting evidence for this. When you complete the game and you return to the title screen, you're met with the same vista, the same place, essentially, but it's much more dingier and raining. And I've seen screen grabs of this, pure tin hat theory, kind of like ground. There are two spots where the girl and the boy were standing at the end, where in that title screen after the ending, there are flies hovering above the ground. So, yeah, they line up perfectly.
Really?
So, yep. And everything is overgrown. There's lots more moss and everything else surrounding, and the ladder from the treehouse is more broken than it was.
I did notice that
at the ending.
I did see that when I was playing through. I was like, wait, that ladder is busted. It wasn't busted originally.
So it's kind of implied that time has passed and that they kind of died there. That's probably the most popular theory online. And it was something that I had not thought about at all when I played through it the first time. But the one theory that I did that rung a chord with me the first time through is the car crash theory. So, if I say to you car crash theory, can you think of anything about Limbo that, just with that title alone, could possibly play into that? No?
No. There is no cars in the game, as far as I know. But there is.
But Chris,
industrial area represents. No.
There is a part at the end of the game when you fall through glass, and that's when the end of the game is. That's when you get to the end. It's like the last puzzle, and you're physically thrown through the glass. So I mean, that's like the only thing I can think of.
Absolutely, that's one of the biggest pieces of evidence supporting this theory. Is smashing through the glass screen at the end, kind of like those movement puzzles where you are moving around in the air is kind of akin to being thrown around in a car, say if it's rolling, and then to smash through the glass at the end. But I mean, even the themes of machinery and the fact that there are saw blades kind of cutting and mashing metal. A lot of people kind of say that plays into the idea that he's kind of was involved in a car crash.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I guess unless the theoretical car was spinning out of control and then also hit a treehouse, and that's where the girl was playing, and that's how she fell and died. And then you're also a kid who shouldn't have been driving that car because you're way too young. Hit that treehouse, and then
that'll teach him.
Yeah, that'll teach him real good. He'll never forget that lesson. That's where he died, and then that's how the whole Limbo thing starts. I mean, that's a fun theory. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I like
funny.
that theory.
It's funny you should say that because I have got something further down the list that actually I came up with today myself by putting these strings together. I mean, I haven't got a corkboard and red wool, but I'm almost there. And it's sort of there's a way that could work. That the treehouse ending could also work with the car crash ending, but I'll get down to that in a moment. Yeah, what else have I got on this list? So, yes, playing pretty much what you were mentioning there, Matt, is this next one, which is called the life lived theory, or I've called it the life lived theory. A lot of people call it remembrance or reliving life. Basically, it's the idea that because obviously he is going through limbo, this boy, that he's kind of reliving his life, like his starting in sort of an idyllic kind of like childhood nature. And being afraid of things like spiders and drowning and base fears, like childlike base fears, through to adolescence and socially not being socially accepted because of those other the blow darters and the kids with sticks.
Everyone trying to kill you. Yeah,
and then moving through to kind of like adulthood and having to work in the city, which is lifeless and drab. Feeling like you're in a part in a machine. And it's very mindless. The mind control worms also could play into that in terms of
having no control.
Exactly. And there's one point where the boy sees the girl halfway through the game and tries to walk to her, and as he does, he is hit by one of those mind worms and turned the other way. Yeah. So, some people are saying that the girl sort of represents the innocence of his childhood with his sister, and that that's another example of his life turning him away from that. And so ultimately, his travel through limbo is to get back to that place, which is sort of essentially heaven, where his sister may or may not be.
That's pretty interesting. I have a question though. How is the sister thing confirmed? How is that possibly confirmed? There's no dialogue in the game.
Apparently is actually confirmed. First off, there is a description for the game when you go to download it on a say an Xbox store or whatever. Apparently, in the interview I read, the guy said, we didn't even want to write that, but apparently you have to, because there needs to be something there. So I believe the sentence is literally something like, searching for his lost sister, a boy enters Limbo. It's like literally that. They wrote the bare minimum that they could.
Shit happens.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I would have wrote. Just shit happens.
But also during the interview, he refers to her as the sister. So I
Okay.
mean, that is definitely confirmed.
All right.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, there are lots of other theories that I'm not going to go into because they are just little bits and pieces.
yeah, because like when you said like when he when he was trying to get back to that place with that girl, like that was his thing, and the mind control worm like turns him around. I was thinking like, well, I mean, is that really his sister or like a possible love interest? You know, like that's when he was happy or something. But if the people said then
that would have been a good read. You know, all of these interpretations, you know, are valid. If you didn't know the thing about the sister, or if it wasn't confirmed, that would be equally as valid.
Yeah.
And I could see that definitely.
I will say that that's one of the strengths of the game. Like, although it doesn't really, when you first time you play, it doesn't feel like you've really accomplished anything. It is one of the few games where there's a lot left up to interpretation, which is a positive and a negative. It's always really, especially with any kind of interactive media, it's always very risky to have the full completely open to your own interpretation. It's really risky. It's very, very difficult to get right as well. And it does get some of it right, but I can at the same time it does kind of frustrate me as well a bit because it doesn't feel like I really did accomplish anything.
There could have been a little bit more. I mean, the only other thing I managed to glean from that interview in terms of what I would like to call, I've written here in this document, givens. So basically things that we can take for granted as true or fact, and then everything else follows is kind of guesswork. Yeah. So the girl is the sister, that's given, that's confirmed. The boy has entered Limbo, so we can assume, it's fairly safe to assume that he is dead.
Yep.
Or, and also possibly, going on from that, there is a theory that contradicts this, but for the most part, most of the theories involve the girl being dead too, because she's there.
Yeah.
And the last given is that in that interview, he said that the interviewer was saying something along the lines of he'd played the game with his partner or whatever, and his partner had said that she felt really sad for the character because it looked like he was doomed to repeat it over and over again. And the guy, the director, the brains behind it, Arndt Jensen, I think he says something along the lines of the ending implies that things are looking up for the boy. That there is an inherent sign, kind of, even if it's only small, there's a kind of a positivity there, or perhaps that there is going to be a positive change. So that was the only other thing I could get from that interview in terms of givens.
How is it looking up for him at the end of the game, though? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. He gets closer, then he falls, and he starts it all over again.
The question is perhaps maybe the game does start over again, and he does have to go through purgatory again, or limbo, whatever you want to call it, and go through these trials over and over again. But perhaps there will be a point where he is, forgiven, his sin is cleansed, and he can progress to heaven or whatever. I mean, I read one really, really awesome but far out there theory, which was about apparently the boy is some kind of like have you guys ever seen, what's it called? Fuck. The little orange twat with the mustache. Dr. Seuss. Lorax.
Oh, the Lorax. Okay. I was just
right,
like, what?
The twat with the moustache.
Yeah. Danny. Is it like Danny DeVito just going around scolding everybody like, you shouldn't have done that. Now the forest's gonna die.
I think so. Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if you know the character in that, he starts off being a nice person, and he kind of takes over nature and makes it into this kind of horrible place where everything's artificial, and nature is destroyed. I read a really cool but far out theory which involved that the boy perhaps lost his sister at an early age. They fell from a treehouse. She died. He didn't. That would explain why she is kind of heavenly, because she died when she was fairly young, and she doesn't have to go through any kind of trial because she hasn't done anything wrong per se. Yeah. And they then speculate that the boy, because there's this puzzle in the game, one puzzle where you have to get that little frog into a gear, and then you can use the frog in the gear to start machinery. And that becomes the kind of the beginning of the industrial chapter. People are saying that that boy basically becomes like the guy in the Lorax. He rolls out. He takes nature and he turns it into the industrial. He eliminates nature, and so sort of by the end of the game, he's navigating through this mess of gears and saws and stuff, and that's basically atoning for this kind of his lifetime of turning nature into sort of like industrial and ruining nature, which was interesting. I'm not sure if I subscribe to that theory, but
yeah, that's really far out.
That's really far out. It's like, I mean, it's up to interpretation, but that's kind of taken.
Like you said, you don't have a cork board, right?
I don't have a cork board.
Okay.
I have a Word document of about 3,000 words in length.
He's got a box of letters addressed to Pepe Silva.
But and this is going to be stupid, but yeah, call back to last week's episode. The second I read that theory, the first thing I saw was Donald Duck with the word underneath sinner.
Yeah.
Not Donald Duck, Scrooge McDuck.
McDuck, yeah. Donald had
from that
nothing to do with
DuckTales
it.
video. I was just like, sinner.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are lots of other theories. I mean, I've sat here the last day writing my script for my YouTube video I'm eventually going to do on it, and I've broken the theories down into lots more kind of like bits and pieces, because obviously in a podcast you can't show bits from the game. You can just kind of recall them, and for the most part I would say bits of the game are quite memorable.
Yeah.
Like you were saying about the puzzle, and we could all picture the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But on the whole, it's kind of hard to get all of this across. So I decided I was going to do a video on it.
Okay.
And yeah, I have so many theories. I mean, there's no point going into all of them. But another cool thing I picked up on was the kids with the sticks and the blowpipes.
Are they kids?
And I was thinking, well, that's a good question. I felt like they kind of were, or at least adolescent.
Yeah, they're much taller than
the
main character.
Yeah.
From when I went back in the game.
Yeah,
they're
that's
definitely
true, actually.
like man-shaped. Grown
That's
up.
true,
that
actually.
is.
I hadn't thought about it that way. But yeah, well, I mean, if I employ a bit of artistic license and say they're kind of adolescent, I got this real Lost Boys vibe from them. Sort of, if we imagine that Limbo is a place that other people can enter and not just the boy, that perhaps these are other people who became trapped in Limbo and have been surviving there, sort of like akin to like Lord of the Flies or the Lost Boys from Peter Pan, where they're doomed to be there forever, evading traps, avoiding spiders, and seemingly also taking you on, the player.
Yeah.
Even though I've read theories about the fact that the boy is evil and that's why everything's trying to stop him. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting kind of thing. It's just kind of thrown in there, and I couldn't really think of a reason why it was there other than perhaps they were trapped there as well. I mean, another thought I had was about the bodies, and inside. I don't think it's too spoiling to say that they revisit this trope about using dead bodies to get where you need to go.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking, obviously, you have to, because we've just had disagreements about the size and shape of the guys, so I've got to get this out right. Imagine, if you will, that there is some reason why his hair is not on the bodies. Could the bodies be previous attempts of the boy trying to navigate through Limbo? And that literally, the nature of those puzzles, you were saying, they're kind of trial and error. You have to die to get through them. There are some puzzles where literally you have to use someone who has died to get through it.
Yeah.
So that was another kind of thing I thought about.
I did have a lot of fun, like, getting the corpse out of the water, though I didn't have a lot of fun doing that because I kept getting on the corpse and I didn't think that I could actually pull it out of the water. So it took me like 10 minutes to get it right with the game, to finally grab it by the head and drag it out of the water. I was like, okay, cool. Then I just grab it by the ankles and I just shove it all the way up the hill face down. It just makes me laugh so much because it's just like, there's no way this kid could possibly push a whole body face down, chest down, belly down, up a hill from the feet.
Well, actually, I think I said on the first podcast that that podcast that doesn't exist, episode 0, that I was looking to maybe try and start speedrunning Limbo. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue trying to
No, you
speedrun
don't wanna
Limbo,
do that.
but there is
Go on.
some of the physics in that game are broken, and the only way to get a speedrun of any time in this game is to utilize the broken physics.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, there's a bit at the start where what you're supposed to do is climb up some trees to push down a branch so that you can get across a body of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there's like a wooden box there that you pull away from the water up to the tree so that you can climb up and
Yeah.
push the branch down.
Yeah.
That's right.
In speedrunning strats, what you have to do is run up to that box, jump on it. Well, first of all, pull it to a very specific spot on the hill. Then you have to jump on it. You have to kind of do this run left, then jump right. And the physics of the box actually propel you over the body of water.
All right.
And I've seen this guy. There's this guy called, literally, it blows my mind sometimes, the people that you encounter speedrunning. But this guy, I think his YouTube channel is literally just called David, right? His name is David. I think even with a small d, okay? It's just David. And David has got some cool videos where, he's playing it on a Mac, and he's broken it down. Like, literally, he's been one of those super helpful speedrunners who will kind of sit there and make a 5-minute video just on that bit of the speedrun so that people can learn it. And it's so inconsistent that I kind of, at that point, I was thinking, maybe I won't run speedrun Limbo because this trick is fucking insane to try and pull off.
Well, with speedrunning Limbo, it's a short game, though. If, like, with knowing all the puzzle solutions, knowing all the ways to avoid death, it wouldn't be that bad. I think in the end, even if you didn't know that trick to get through there.
Yeah, possibly. But, I mean, there are two routes. There's a hard route and a not-so-hard route. And the not-so-hard route is longer. So there are 2 world records, one for each route. And I think this David guy, it's fucking Joker David. I'm going to sign up at YouTube. What's your username? David. Okay. Not even a surname.
No, lowercase.
Welcome to my channel.
Lowercase d.
Yeah.
I'm not
I swear
important or
David's
anything. I
lowercase
just want to
d.
be like an improper
If you search
now.
David Limbo, I'm going to do it now. Search David Limbo.
I'm gonna do the same. Fuck it.
He might have a second
Yes,
letter after his name.
I found it.
Did you find it?
Yeah, it's just.
Oh,
called
it's David. Yeah, he's got a capital D. All right, fair play to the guy. He's capitalized his name, but still, it's just David.
I did David Limbo YouTube, and I got David Hasselhoff Limbo Dance YouTube. Is that him?
Nice.
Could be the guy.
No, there he is, right there. Uploaded by David.
He's doing Super Mario stuff at the moment, but
Shout out to David.
Yeah,
Shout out to David.
I will say thank you, David, for convincing me not to waste more time on Limbo trying to speedrun it, because what you do with it is insane.
David.
Oh my god.
His icon,
But
his
anyway.
avatar is even the Limbo guy. Dude,
Yeah,
dude
I think
freaking
that's
loves
what he was
Limbo.
I think that's what he's famous for, definitely. And you can see he's got a couple of speedruns, and he does. I think he does have the world record.
It's got like a couple of speedruns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Anyway, if you can see there, one of the videos, if you are so inclined, is called Tree Skip Tutorial. If you just watch that one, that'll show you everything that you need to know about this fucking stupid physics glitch.
I'm going to give David a like on his speedrun. He only had 22, now he's got 23.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, find David, give him a like on his YouTube channel. You don't have to subscribe to him, just give him a thumb. It's David. our best friend David.
In this video, I'll link this video in the YouTube, in the podcast notes. But if you skip to about 2 minutes 30, you'll see him almost pull this glitch off.
Let's see.
Yeah, I caught on
and I
that
think-
jumping was faster than walking
Oh my God.
when I was playing.
Yeah, I found that.
I was like, yep, if I was going to speedrun this, that's what I'd do.
Oh, actually, he successfully does it at 2 minutes 56.
What the fuck? How does that? Yeah, those physics are fucked.
See,
Yeah, essentially, it apparently involves bouncing the box against the slope, and because it's done in a specific way, it abuses the fact that the physics work in a certain way.
Yeah. What blows me away about this is that David loves Limbo so much that he's playing this game like this. I wish I could love a game this much. You know? Just like, I mean, I play a lot of games, and I do love some games, like specifically, like I love Bayonetta, I love some Killer Instinct, for example, but I wouldn't do this with those games.
Well, yeah, because quite often it means going against the actual way of playing the game properly to actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's more about sort of optimized, working out the fastest possible way, even if that means abusing the game or abusing enemies so that they hit you so you go faster or all kinds of things.
Okay, see, sorry, you're not watching the same video I'm watching, at least not in the same spot, but I really need to bring this up. When I was talking about walking into the giant spider, okay, I mean, it's like, why would you walk in front of a giant spider? Yeah, exactly. But you know, when you get close to that spider, he slams the ground, and that's what drops the bear trap out of the tree that you used to kill the thing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the puzzle solution was still to get close to the spider.
Okay, yeah, no, you won't get me to condone your reckless activities of baiting giant spiders. I'm sorry, Chris. It worked out for you this time, but one time it won't.
One time it won't. Well, I don't have anything against that. That's just funny. Yeah.
I like the only comment on the tree skip tutorial is written by, I've not even tried to pronounce the name. It's got an Earthbound picture as his display picture, and there's no punctuation, so it just reads as, "This skip is so hard, fuck me." Sounds more like a proposition.
Yeah, no, he's given up on Limbo. He needs something else.
He needs something else.
You gotta like that. Anuran, however you pronounce your name.
Well,
Anaran, there you go.
Maybe a good way to wrap this up then is to say that although we all enjoyed the experience of Limbo the first time, we don't love it enough to play it through to try and speedrun it. So,
or even
that's like a 75% out of 100.
That's an arbitrary out of 100. Yeah.
Good
first time through. Replaying is for weirdos.
Yeah.
We should do a score rating system like which magazine was it? I think it was a British one. It might have been a ZX Spectrum one or like a Commodore review magazine. And I think they used to do their review scores in like hundreds. It was like
really
90, or like 1,000 or something. It was like 95 out of 100. Something ridiculous like that. I know Stuart Ashens always makes fun of it. So
wait, 95 out of 100? That's pretty common though, isn't it? Like going out of 100, like points out of 100.
I think it might have been 1,000 then. It was okay. And it was just like really see you have like this game's rated 837 out of 1,000.
Okay, well yeah, that'd be something different. I was thinking, wait, was this like a cultural thing? Because like most school papers are graded out of 100 as well here. So I was like, maybe they don't do that in England. Oh my god, what? Like I'm just like staring into space. Like, how do they do it there? But yeah, that was
I like the ones that do like 7 out of 9 hamburgers or something.
Yeah, S for sandwich.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 chips. You know, that's
ultimately we enjoyed Limbo, but it needed more lettuce.
Yeah. More letters. No, it's a great game to watch once, whether you're playing it or you're experiencing it. And there's that. Okay, I'm actually watching the guy's speedrun now. There's a body that is laying on the ground, and when the ground comes out underneath you and you fall, it's hung itself. Yeah. But I remember going back there. Actually. Yeah, I remember going back there and looking at that body specifically because of this podcast, which is why I'm bringing it up now. That body is a doll. I'm pretty sure it's a doll. So I don't know if that goes into any of the theories that you have written down, but
maybe
I think that's pretty weird. Yeah, you can make that joke.
Well,
okay.
What's funny is I spent an inordinate amount of time yesterday, probably too much time, with my corkboard and my red string, working out all of these theories, and I didn't even hear or see that doll mentioned once. So I think it is a credit to Limbo that 7 years later we're still finding new stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And
yeah,
maybe this has something to do with it. There's that person who's operating the fake spider legs. And maybe the doll is placed there as like a warning or something. I don't know, man.
Maybe, or maybe just waffling off the top of my head.
I love waffles.
Maybe the fake spider is kind of part of that transition of the boy's life, leaving behind childish fears and seeing behind what they really are. He sees the spider and it's scary and huge, but then he realizes that, there's a man behind the curtain pulling everything.
Until he has to fight the spider again.
Oh, it's just another one of them fake spiders. It's fine.
Oh, no, John Spider.
No, it's a real spider. Oh, man.
And this is where I butt in and I say, look, my friend Chris has advised you to go up against this giant spider, but please don't. It's not safe.
Look, he's just got 8 legs. That's less than 10. It's fine.
You'll be fine.
It's no problem.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I think we'll probably end it there. I mean, do you guys have any brief thoughts about what we should make our next episode about? I mean, we could do Inside, but I feel, to be honest, it would be better to have a break from this kind of game and then come back to Inside later.
Yeah, especially if it is very similar, because it just might boil down to the same conversation again.
True.
Well, there are definitely different conversations to be had, but yeah, it is in the same vein of trying to divine what the fuck happened. So,
yeah.
Let me see.
you guys, either games or maybe suggest a movie we all watch. I mean, I've got a movie in my mind that we can do if no one else has got any ideas, but I'd kind of like to open it out because I suggest Limbo. So,
go on. What was the film?
Oh, the film. Excuse me. It's called Pontypool.
I've heard of Pontypool.
Have you heard of Pontypool? Have you ever been to Pontypool?
No. I've heard of the film.
Basically, it's a book, and then the film is based on the book. I've not read the book, but the film is, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's ostensibly a horror film in that it's kind of there are horrific things going on, but it's also about what happens midway through and how it's very different to movies of that kind. I believe essentially it was first conceived of as a kind of a radio play, and then they turned it into a movie. So it does take place in one kind of atmosphere with a few characters, but it's an experience, and it definitely has a weird twist that I don't think you'll be able to predict at all.
Is that the one that's set in the radio station?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely the one I've heard of. What's the one I'm thinking of anyway?
How about you, Chris? You not seen it?
No, I haven't seen or heard of it at all. I'm sorry.
Excellent.
I'm also kind of like watching this speedrun now because I'm like I was just thinking about it while I was playing. It's like, how would I speedrun this as I'm playing it? And so far, he's doing exactly what I was doing, so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I was gutted because when I first started, I'd managed to, when you climb up that tree part, I'd managed to get that really, really kind of efficient, and then I watched a speed run, and he completely misses it and does the box thing.
Yeah, but he doesn't do that anywhere
crap.
else so far. Of course, I'm sure once he changes gravity and all that kind of stuff, it'll be a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far a lot of jumping and just proficient.
Because everything, I imagine the way the game is made as well, that a lot of the things that are twisting and turning are on cycles. And so as you enter a new area, they know what the cycle is going to be, so they know where to stand and where to jump and everything else to maximize it completely. And you'll probably find that if they miss a certain thing, that's it for the speedrun because the cycle's thrown out. Like apparently even in Resident Evil 7 some things are on a cycle, so you can run and do things in a certain way and things will be where you want them guaranteed, and apparently that's a big thing in speedrunning. The whole manipulation thing. I'm just trying to think of what we could talk about next time. I would like to make a suggestion, but I don't have a suggestion. You know how that feels?
Yeah. You feel like you're on the spot.
Well, Pontypool is fairly easy to get hold of. It's fairly cheap as a movie, and you'd probably be able to stream it on Amazon or buy it as DVD for less than £5, or I guess $10. So I mean, if we go with that for next week, and then everyone comes next week with their ideas for what the next week's
yeah. That's a good idea.
Then that could work, because I mean it is only 2 hours, so you can watch it and be done.
Yeah, homework done.
I will say, excellent. I will say that it
is
it
95 minutes.
There you go. It's not even 2 hours. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
You
Perfect.
might be screaming at your TV by the end, saying, "What does it mean?" But we can go into that next time.
Yeah, we can talk about
I'll
that.
just look it up on Wikipedia.
I'm usually just like,
That's fine
whatever,
research.
it was Limbo. I'm out of here.
Cool. Next
Yeah,
game.
he was dead the whole time. Duh.
Well, obviously.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, then, yeah. Make sure everybody to go and watch Pontypool. I think in America it might be something different, like Pontypool is real or something. But basically, search Pontypool, you'll get it. And yeah, enjoy.
Yes, it will be great.
And we'll all meet up next week and talk about how stupid it is and it doesn't make sense.
For a little bit, anyway.
Made me think.
Chris, I tell you what, an extra challenge for Chris. This is extra credit on your homework, right?
Okay. I didn't
You
do
know
good
how
in
you
school
came
for
up-
a reason, so go on, throw it at me. I'll ignore it.
You know how you came up with your kind of like basis of Limbo is literally like 3 or 4 words, like one sentence. Like well, it's called Limbo, isn't it? It's like literally what you said.
Yeah.
If you can come up with one for Pontypool, you get bonus credits.
Bonus points. Awesome.
It's a pool of Ponty.
Oh Matt, if only it was.
All right.
So yeah, everyone
I'll
check
do
out
that.
Pontypool, and we'll meet back here again next time.
Sweet.
Yes. And it'll be glorious.
Cool.
Much glorious.
Until next time. Bye.
All right. Thanks
Goodbye.
for listening.
This episode of Spoilers of the Damned was hosted by Axton10_61, Madcus Finch, and Garlops. To find out about us, as well as join the discussion on our Discord, check out all the links in the description below. Please feel free to leave a review or rate us on your podcast app of choice.